Welcome in. Happy Friday. Live stream. Softr Live. Back at it for, what is it? November 21st. Almost the holidays. We have a great live stream for you today. We're going to be talking about the top 10 tips for building better with Softr. As we think of it, there's a lot of tips for building better with Softr. We're just going to talk about 10 of them today with you all. And we're going to go through it, show you some examples, and figure out the best ways to build with Softr. Gilliam, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Hi JJ. Hi everyone. Happy to be on the live today.
Cool. I'm happy to be here with you as well. You were out last week at a no-code conference, which looked really awesome. It was also your birthday. Glad to have you back.
Thank you. Yeah, great event, like meeting so many, actually everyone, new Softr. Everyone was excited about the recent launches, first the database 5 months ago now, and now the workflows. So great conversation with many people from the French community. So that was great.
Awesome. So we've added a lot of features to Softr in the last 6 to 12 months. We started as just a front-end builder, and now we're a full-stack builder. Along the way, the product has grown significantly, which also means there's a lot of new ways or even existing ways to work with Softr in a best practices manner. First one we want to talk about today is leveraging user groups. This is just one of those things where it's an oldie, but it's a goodie, and it's still very important. I'm going to pull this one up on my screen here, and I'll talk through this one, and then we'll switch every option, okay? So user groups, for those that aren't familiar with user groups, we can go into our users tab here, go into user groups, and we have the ability to create different user groups. Now we could do this in a conditional or a static way. And what I mean by that is conditional allows you to have a dynamic rule that whenever this user is X, they might belong to this user group. And that's also dynamic, meaning if something changes for the user, then this user group can change too, and it happens in the background. Static is manual. This allows us to go in there and just say, hey, we're going to put this user in the user group, or it's as simple as that. We're going to put this user in the user group, right? In this case, the user group is admin. So we're just going to simply go into our, let's see, where was that? Do you remember what row that was called?
So you're for the ERP, I would need to double check.
What we could do here is I can get back out of here, so I can go to our data here.
Yeah.
Get into the database and just double check what we have for our what we might be using for our role.
It was account type in the beginning, I think.
It was account type right here. Great. So now I can go back to my interface here, back to my users, data restrictions, user groups, go back to my admin, and account type. It includes exactly admin. And it does have the option where you can click, so it makes that easy there. So once we have the user groups here, and you can build a lot of them. Gilliam, how many user groups have you built before, like some of your apps?
I try to keep it as concise as possible, because you will then be using these user groups to decide who can see what page or who can see what block. And obviously, if you have 15 of them, it will become difficult to manage. So
yeah,
I try to keep it 5, 6 maximum.
Yeah.
I was about to ask you, like, the typical user groups you add in your apps, because I think there are some common patterns also from what we see here, right?
Yeah, admin is definitely a popular one that I always look to do. And so that's something like you or I, we're the developer of the app, so we're the supervisor of the app, and we have more control permissions than other users may have. And so using those user groups, we can use them in a variety of ways. So we can use them within the navigation there, and we can go into our visibility rules here, and we could choose which nav options are available with which user group. So in this example, if we wanted an admin dashboard, which we have right here, right, admin, I can actually go in if I didn't click on it already. So admin right there. Then we go in and we say which users can see this. Only the admin users can see this admin dashboard right there, right? Very simple, easy peasy. This means when you're logged in as a user that is an admin, you can see that. And then you can apply it at kind of every single level. So the page level, the nav level, the block level, the action button level. It goes really deep here. So here at the block level, again, we can look at applying it for specific user groups. At the action button level, you can look at applying it for specific user groups.
You know what? This one is very useful because without that, you would have to build two different blocks and show a block to admins and show a block to the other people, even though it displays almost the same thing, but you just want admins only to be able to delete that record. And actually, you can just add that button and say only admin can see that, so like can use this button. That way, you have only one block and just a simple condition here.
Yep.
It works
Yep,
well.
easy peasy. So that button that we just added right there, that'd be accessible only for admins, right? So that's a great way to think about it. Again, user groups are just one of those things that you should be building into every application. When you're looking at your database structure, you're looking at your users and you're thinking, all right, how can I break these into groups that makes the most sense, right? Do you have tenants and landlords? Do you have policy holders and insurance companies? Like there's a lot of different ways to break this out for each of the apps that you're building, and just building this into your application in the beginning is very important. For this account type that we're using for our user groups, this is arbitrary. You can name it whatever you want. The big thing here is usually it's a single select field, and then you can have the various options, and that's kind of what you link to. But it doesn't need to be named user roles or user groups or anything like that in your database. You could do it however you want and actually match this to whatever you want to. It's fully dynamic based on how you want to set it up.
Definitely. And you can also, if you build, let's say, a customer portal, you can also assign a specific homepage to your customers and a specific homepage to your team. That way, you will not have to try to fit all the blocks into one page and then have to set the conditions at every block level, but you can just make sure that one page is dedicated to your customers, and they will see something very different than your own team if there are these two sides of your apps. So that's also a very welcome feature, I think, that came out this year and makes it very easy to.
Yeah, that's a great call out, G. To get there, you click on pages and then page rules. And these page rules allow you, just like Gilliam was saying, to define what is the homepage for each user group. And so after they log in, they could each go to their own homepage of here's an admin dashboard, here's a tenant dashboard, etc. And that happens behind the scenes intelligently with Softr doing this for you. All you need to do is just figure out, what page you want to send them to, and then you have the user groups there, etc. So there's a lot of options here. User groups also work really well with our new onboarding block too. So it's just one of those things that if you get right in the beginning, it's going to make your app building a lot easier and faster for you.
100%.
All right. Let's go on to our next one, G. Using tab layouts to avoid having to create too many pages or having pages that are too vertical. So this is definitely something, I'll pull it up on my screen just to make this a little bit easier at the moment, because I do have something handy here. This is definitely one of those things when you're looking at a Softr app, you can tell if they're kind of a beginner or not, because sometimes beginner builders, they'll just have a really long page. They'll be stacking many, many blocks, and you got to really scroll for it, right? And that is just a sign of just inefficiency, right? We don't want our users to have to scroll through all those and look through all those blocks. The tab block that was released this year makes it so much easier to just properly categorize and organize your blocks to increase your user experience.
It was a game changer for me because now that we have these tabs, you don't have to necessarily create one page per type of object you want to list. For example, a list of products, a list of contacts, etc. Here, when I actually created these ERP templates, if you show the different pages that we have on the side, or even on the the navigation in the app. We have inventory, sales, finance. So these are categories, not really all products, all sales, all orders, etc. But I created these categories where if you go in sales, you will see the sales dashboard, you will see the sales, the different orders that we got, etc. So it's like a mini component of the app that has its own page, but then you have tabs for each of the aspects you need to. Here we have 3, super useful because everything about sales is being handled directly in there.
Yeah, it's the way to go. When you're thinking about this, you're thinking high level sales, and then within sales at the highest level, how can we subgroup that or add different categories within that? That's how we think about tabs. And then within each tab, try to keep it so, I mean, honestly, this is a little long. I don't like scrolling this much myself personally. You could even add like another tab option within this to make it a little bit easier.
But what we have here as well is, imagine we had all these charts all stacked together. It would be even more vertical. But here for the KPIs, for example, we are using another type of layout called columns. So here we have 2 of them. At the top, we have 3 of them, which also makes it easy to show side by side. For example, these little metric charts. You probably don't want to have one taking the full width because they are so short.
Yeah, that's another good call out for our column block. So you can see a column block here. It's side by side. You can see here there's 3 side by side. And so just using your tabs along with your column blocks in whatever order you think is best is very helpful. All right, let's move on to our next one here. Using hidden fields to avoid requiring your logged in user to disclose who they are, etc. So hidden fields. What's the best way to describe this? If you had to describe it, what would you say, G?
So this is a way to capture information in a form, for example, without having the user to declare everything. So it could be, for example, when you're filling a form, like a new expense that you did, you probably don't want to write your email again because you are already logged into this internal tool. So that way we can directly pass, as you see here, we pass the logged in user email as a hidden field, which means they don't have to input it themselves, but still we capture that data in our database to then be able to even show in another pages, the list of all the expenses for maybe the finance manager user group. They would see who logged that expense. It also works if you are, let's say you have expenses for different projects. Whenever you would open a project, and I don't know if we have an example here.
Let's see.
Yeah, we don't. But if we were, to log new expenses or new orders for that customer, we could also, in a hidden way, pass. Probably there. We could also pass the information about the customer that we have actually opened in that detail page based on the block that we have right above. Exactly.
Yes, exactly. So what you're saying here is we're on the detail page, and each detail page has this detail block that gives additional information about the current record that we're viewing, right? And in this situation, we were just able to quickly add a button to essentially say that we want to define, when we add this record, we want it automatically associated with this customer because we're on the customer detail page. And so when we go to this customer, we can automatically assign it to this customer by using this hidden field that is pulling from the details page. So you'll see this only when you're on a details page, this available data. So we have the logged in user that's available everywhere. We have URL parameters and page URL that's available everywhere. This is only available on pages that have a detail block. And then you could fetch all the related items there and pass that as well. So this way, when we go to create this record, this order is automatically going to be assigned to this customer when we create it. using the hidden field, right? Hidden field is more of an advanced field that sometimes a lot of people don't know how to use or when to use it. But as soon as it clicks, it's like, wow, that makes things so much easier and whatnot. And it's like one of the things that you should be utilizing in every app that you're building with Softr.
Definitely, and it also makes your app users, it makes their experience smoother, because, for example, here, imagine they would have to type again which customer this is related to, even though they already have opened that customer. It would be additional manual time for them to fill in, and that just makes it smoother.
Yep.
And as a hidden field, we can also pass, you have here a date field. We can also pass the current date and time if you want a timestamp. The moment this was this record was being added, you can also have that being sent right away. So lots of options there. The logged in user one and the detailed record one are definitely the two strongest.
Yeah, good call out there, G. Awesome. All right, next up, displaying a list dynamic block below an item detail filter on the record to show related records. So the best way to describe this is, and we actually have it here already, right?
Yeah.
So we have a detail block here, right? And we want, on the customer detail page, we want to show all of the orders related to this customer, right? And again, we're going to tap into our data that we get from the detail block here to show it. So in this case, we go to our table block and we go down here, conditional filters. And conditional filters allow us to add server-side filtering that says only fetch data related to X, Y, or Z.
In the end, it's very similar to hidden fields, but you actually use that as a filter. So once you understand, that concept, you will also, better understand how the hidden fields work. It could be also used. Imagine you have a CRM, and if you want, I can just pull my screen.
Sure.
But in your CRM, I'll share that quickly. When you open, let's say, when you open a company in your CRM, all right, it should be sharing. All right, we have it here. Probably you'll have to switch the.
So it's boom, boom. All right.
If you have a CRM, when you open one of the companies that's in there, you'll see information here. So that's your item detail, your record detail about that company. But below here, we are able to display all related contacts. So this is a table block where I've added this filter. Okay, the contact needs to be assigned to that company. And that way we only have these two contacts showing up here, even though in our CRM, we have many more contacts. So again, the same. If I go in my company's detail, I see my item detail block here, and below I've added again these nice tabs to have this layout. And here I have, all right, let me just remap that company name. Only show contacts for which their company is the current company name that we have here. Super useful.
Why don't we show the database of this to show, when they're doing the if for like company name, record ID, like what fields would qualify for that conditional filter to get it to trigger properly?
Yeah. A good one is definitely whenever you are using these linked records. So you connected one of your database table to another. For example, here we have a list of companies, and we are able to here have a relation to contacts. So we can say, okay, this contact here works at this company, and that would be a good field to do that conditional filtering, because whenever we open a company, we can easily use that to filter out only and only show the contacts that are assigned to this one company. So that's the most typical use case here.
Great. Yeah. I guess what I'm getting at here is there are different ways that you can use conditional formatting, and it depends on how you're structuring your database and what fields you have visible in those rows. So, for example, Gilliam's saying he has the contact's email available in there, and so that would then make it say that if the contact's email is any of the logged in users' email or whatever, those could
Yeah.
match. Or you could expose the record ID, and if the record ID matches X, then those could match. There's a lot of different ways that you can use it, but it depends on your database structure and how you're setting those up to really kind of get there.
We have a good example here. As you said, we have a table here in our CRM to make it more personal to the user. So the sales rep who's using this CRM, here I'm showing a table with my contacts. And here, instead of filtering based on a detailed record that would be above, I'm actually saying, okay, only show the contacts for which the contact owner in our database is here, the logged in user email, which means that as you're logging in as a sales rep, so here Laura is one of them, I go in contacts and I will only see my contacts.
Awesome. All right, let me grab the screen back here real quick and pull up our list here and continue on. Let's see. I got out of my view. Oh, here it is. Okay, so boom, boom, and bring us back here. All right. So our next one up is homepage for logged in users is separated from public-facing homepage, allowed to use a different nav bar style. You want to take this one again, G?
It is actually part of that project, so we can show that CRM screen.
Sure. Let me bring it back up.
We already explained how you can assign a different homepage to different user groups, and in our case here, we have built a CRM where we actually have a homepage here that contains a public-facing form to receive demo requests. So if you log in, let's say as a non-log, like if you log out, so you are a visitor of this, a public visitor of this app, the only thing you'll be able to see is this demo request form. I have added this demo request form. If I just remove that, if you look at the URL, it's the very very clean URL. It is my homepage because there is no contacts or after the URL. So if I look into here my Softr Studio, the homepage is that page that we're seeing, and this block is only visible to visitors. Now I could build the dashboard for this CRM on this same page by adding a block that would be only visible to logged in users. But I prefer to separate things, and that way I have created here a new page called dashboard, and that's actually the real homepage for my CRM users. And in there, in the page roles, I have just said, okay, for all logged in users, their homepage is actually that slash dashboard page instead of this generic homepage. And that way, whenever I am logged in, so I'm previewing the app again, when I click here, for example, or here home, it will actually always bring me back to this, I'll remove that,
dashboard page, which is your home
dashboard, which is my logged in user homepage. It makes it cleaner, as a building experience, to not have that public facing form that would be right here, because then I have the feeling that I'm building two different things on the same page. So I prefer in such cases to really separate those.
Yeah, it's a clean way to do it, and it's simple and easy. And I think a lot of people kind of get confused about that public facing homepage and how to approach it. I think we can even just offer a couple of best practices there for a moment. I think it depends on the application that you're building, right? Most people with Softr are building internal tools or apps for their business. In that case, Maybe a homepage isn't as important, and you just want to have your homepage be almost like your sign up or your sign in, or just your sign in, right? So it just brings you right to the sign in to access the tool, and that's perfectly acceptable. Other people, maybe it's a little bit more public facing and they actually need a homepage, right? And so then you create a homepage. And then I'm sure there's more scenarios there, and it just depends on what's best for you for an actual homepage. And then for each user group, you could define that homepage experience as well using those user groups to make sure that whenever they click on the home as a logged in user, it brings them to the proper page for their best user experience.
Yep. And actually, as you create a new app from scratch in Softr, by default, this the slash page, so the real homepage is actually, if I go in the settings, the visibility settings, it's actually natively only visible to logged in users. And in your users settings, here sign up is actually disabled by default, because Softr is really made for these internal tools, client portals, where you want to control who can log in, who can sign up. So by default, the homepage will be only visible to logged in user, and if someone who's not logged in tries to access it, they'll be directly redirected to the login page that is actually being created by default. Whenever you create a new app, we have all these utility pages, including this login, that come out of the box, which makes the app building experience even faster.
Yeah, I agree. While we're on this topic, let's add a new one to our list here and just talk about our onboarding block, and just talk about like the ways we want to use it or not use it. If you want to pull up your pages again, and at a high level, you can see down at utility pages, if you press in the plus button in the top right, you can add a new onboarding flow. So think about this where, say we have admin users and then we have tenants, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whenever a tenant logs in, we can send them to a specific flow for them to fill out information specific to their profile as a tenant, because they're going to require different information. So for example, what building number are they in? Any problem with their unit, anything like that. We could build an onboarding flow to collect that information. But we wouldn't want to send the property owner to that same onboarding flow, because that doesn't make sense, right? We need different information for the different property owner. And so using user groups and onboarding flows, we can create a onboarding experience that allows us to collect the information that we as the app owners need from each user group when they're signing in for the first time. And then I want to add one more caveat to this. Sometimes as developers, we change the application in some way. Maybe we add new database fields or structures that we want to add into the application, and we need to make sure that our users fill in that data to continue using the application properly, or the application isn't breaking in any way. And so another way that you can use your onboarding block is, outside of just a new user signing up, is, hey, I just made changes in my database that requires user input for these new fields. Well, what we could do then is we could build an onboarding block that when the user signs in for the first time and their fields are empty, they can go fill out those fields with the onboarding block to continue with a successful experience. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use the onboarding block, and it depends on, a new user or you're updating your database or whatever, but this block gives you a lot of utility in making that happen. Another thing I want to say is, this is more of a mandatory thing, right? So in the case that I just described, let's say that the changes that I made to the database, that's a mandatory change, and I need the users to fill out those fields on their next sign up in order for the app not to break. I could use an onboarding block there. But if I make an update to the database that is not mandatory, that I don't need users to fill out, but I still want them to fill out, then that's a better use case for that would be creating a separate experience that is not mandatory, a separate block or whatever, directing users there and encouraging them to do it, but you're not really forcing them there, because the onboarding block, it's forcing you there. The user will go there and they can't leave there until they complete those fields, which is a very helpful mechanism for that scenario. But sometimes that's not always needed. So that's up for you as the developer to figure out the best situation for your user experience.
Yeah, and really think about all the information you need from every new user to store in your database. For example, you want them to set up their avatar image, their job title, and the team they work in. For example, if you didn't add that directly yourself to the database when you were inviting these new users, especially useful if they create their accounts on their own, because you've allowed sign up only for your company domain, and they're a new joiner, create their account, collect a few information, so you make sure that whenever they actually access the app, the data is complete, and you don't have to follow up like, hey, you've still not changed your image or something like that.
G, while you have your screen up, can you bring us through number 6, which is adding Ask AI to a long table? And let's talk through the benefits of that. So Ask AI, for those that don't know, it's a newer block that came out this year. And it makes it really easy to spin up a chatbot within Softr to ask questions to a certain table of data or certain set of data. And in this case, G is showing his contacts, and he's able to add an Ask AI button there. I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, we have here it's really the list of all contacts, and we could imagine that, for example, the admins, let's make this only available to admins, because they are not themselves managing contacts, prospects in their CRM, but they want to understand the status maybe of our conversations with contacts, or maybe understand like who from our sales reps team is owning the most contacts to maybe better balance the contact assignment, all this type of insights. You simply add a top bar button here on your table block. You select Ask AI, and you can we will keep this title for now. And you have a couple elements to configure. I really like this typical welcome message, etc., where I usually configure this AI chatbot is here. I have two options. Either the AI chatbot that will appear once you click that button will be able to answer only based on the fields that are available here, which means all the columns
fields, yeah.
Or on also the fields that we decided to not show here in the contents of our table.
Which is a very helpful addition.
The first names, the phone number, we didn't display it here, but it could also, if you want, answer based on that. In our case, I think we have enough information, so we will keep configured fields only. But here, that's where you can prepare a bit the core prompt and give some instructions. For example, help help the CRM admin understand you contacts the sales reps. And here sales reps are actually called contact owners. So you give some context and some instructions, and you can also set a bit the tone. For example, very concise message, that kind of thing. And that's usually it. Like, I let this parameter on because the AI will suggest the type of prompts which can be useful, and those I usually keep them that way. But I think we can directly jump into the preview. Here, if I go in all contacts, I don't see the button, but if you remember, we only allowed it for the admin. So I'll have to log in here as an admin, where, I know what I did. 1 second. I have actually hidden the wrong table. So here, everyone sees that table, but my contacts is only for sales reps because it would make sense otherwise. All right, it's a great flag for. Perfect. Now we are logged in as an admin, and we see that new button. If I click it, I have a native, fully responsive, nicely designed chat interface where, let's say, who owns the most contacts. which could take a bit of time if you wanted to check that manually, right? You would have to maybe here add a filter to then manually count, okay, that's around about 8, etc. But actually I have my insight here, and I could even say create a table to show the any insight you want. It will be based on that's super useful.
Yeah, it's also very helpful for like sales related stuff, onboarding related stuff of like, show me all the clients in this pipeline, show me all of the deals that are going to close soon, show me the deals that are like stuck. Like there's a lot of ways that you can use this functionality, and it's so easy to spin up. And again, this is for like your end users to be able to have a better experience using your app. And if you have a lot of data that you're working through, like this chatbot just makes it so easy. And again, it's safe. This is all happening at the server level, and you're choosing which fields are accessible to specific users and their user groups. So you can really tailor this to the exact experience that you're looking for from a security and safety level. So you're only exposing the data that you want for each user group that, you know, that user might be in.
Look, I had it here already on the deal pipeline, and I think this kind of question for a sales rep or an admin or anyone in the sales department is super useful. Why did we lose or won some deals? And it will read through, you know, the data that we have stored about these deals, so the description, etc., to provide such a detailed analysis. So Ask AI is that one feature that changed everything, because your app users, this time it's really for your app users, they get, after a few clicks of configuration on your end, they access this powerful AI chatbot. It's just one button to add. So powerful.
Yeah. We got 2 more options here. Run a custom workflow. So we'll introduce Softr workflows here. And then use database agents. So we'll also introduce databases and database agents here and talk about the 2 differences. On your screen, are you able to show the run custom workflow, or at least we could talk through?
Yeah.
We don't need to set it up fully, but we could talk through the benefits of such.
Yeah. We actually worked on that 2 weeks ago, I think, in the live.
Yep.
We
still is one of my favorite things that have come out with Softr this entire year.
Because we used to be able to integrate with some workflow tools, but this time it works. It's being triggered directly from the interface, and it's very well connected to all your data in Softr databases, and the actual user experience is being really enhanced, because we have here, so again, in our CRM, we have a deal with a company, and we also store, you know, all the interactions, all the emails that we have exchanged, or the meeting summaries. So we want to combine both the deal description, the message they had when they came to us, which is stored at the deal level, but also, you know, summarize all these interactions to have a digest here. And what we have created here is a button that whenever we click it, it triggers a workflow that will, in the backend, find all the related interactions and summarize them with AI in a 3 bullet point format that we have clearly defined. And I will just click here. And what's new is that we are able to show a loading screen that will help the user know that it's happening, it's processing in the back. And whenever it's done, it will refresh the information that we see. So we have our updated digest available right here. So the way we have created that is in our deals details. Have added here this summarize button, which is run custom workflow type of button. And I've decided to send the company name and the deal ID as data points that we can then reuse easily in the workflow. And I think it is here. Yeah. This is how my workflow looks like. And I can just show again how to find workflows. So you have your apps, your databases, and now your workflows. And full stack, that's the 3 components you need to build a robust app. And the trigger here we've chosen is called run custom workflow. So it really matches what we have here. So you need to create a new workflow that has this trigger to then be able to map it. Here you can pick the workflow you want to be triggering whenever the button is being clicked. And that's the setting we had. So show a weight screen. We could have different designs. We could change a bit the text that appears for your end users. And then you decide, okay, what happens actually in this workflow? So on our end, we are searching for all the interactions in our interactions table in the database that are related to the company that we have just clicked in the interface. And then we give all of these, we give the list, and I can do it again here. I'm just giving it all here to an AI that has a mission that is to summarize and return 3 bullet points.
That records right there, that's an array, right? An array means it's going to feed all the items that it has in that array. It's going to send it all to AI. So AI can then summarize the 3 most important out of that entire list.
Yeah, because we had, I think we had 6 interactions. So it's perfect to, like, AI is really good at summarizing, a list of emails or things like that. And the output looks like the 3 bullet points that we're then able here to store back into, we have a property called interactions digest that we're actually showing here, that we have mapped in our interface, which means that we store the new version of the digest in the database. And the last thing that this workflow does is that it shows a success message, your summary is ready. And navigation-wise, we don't change page. We stay on the same page, but we reload the current blocks on the page.
Big time.
Which means that we will see the new version.
Legacy users know how big that is.
Yeah.
Hey, can you think about it? Take a step back for a second. Think about all that we're building in Softr now. Like that we just built all of that natively in Softr. I mean, we've been building with Softr for years now. I didn't know if we'd ever get there, but we're there now. And like it's possible. We could totally build a full stack app in an AI powered way, all in Softr.
Yeah, I think what's great with Softr is that it always allowed, if you wanted an extra layer of customization, to add some custom code, to change the the style, the design with CSS code. But this adds complexity to your app, requires to really understand what you're doing, and this is all now built in natively within Softr. No need to. You can also cancel a few subscriptions, like I did for databases, like some workflow subscriptions. If you really want these workflows that are directly connected to your data, really real time, also interacting with the user interface. I mean, I love that loading screen. I had to build it with custom codes, and it was sometimes not working. You don't really understand what you're adding in there, and it's really difficult to maintain. And here it's made super safe and efficient.
Yeah, I just want to point out the summarize button, like that is how Gilliam chose to run that, but you could also run that workflow on a schedule where it's like, hey, every day just summarize it so it's all ready. Like the point I'm trying to make is you have the flexibility as a builder to figure out what is best for your build, and Softr has so many options now that you could do that. So there's not just one way to do it. There's many ways to do this, and now with workflows, databases, and apps, you could do it all. Let's go over to databases and show our database agents. And the last thing here for our 10 tips. Database agents are really, really powerful and really quick. And a lot of people sometimes, as they're learning workflows and agents and apps, they'll do a lot of the transformation in workflows that is almost like overkill that they don't need to do, that database agents can do faster and better in a more simple way. And so the point we're trying to make here is that database agents, these are field level agents that exist within your database. And so whenever a database record is created, modified, updated, etc., you can have an agent running in that specific row of your database to update or modify or extract, etc., anything for that row. And it's just happening in a really easy way. So do you have any database agents that we could show here, Gilliam?
I have 3 of them. So again, in this CRM context, we saw that we could have demo requests that come in through a form that's public facing, but it could be connected to your own like marketing website, maybe hosted somewhere else. You could send that new form submission to your database, and from there, whenever let's say we have a new website, actually a website is enough to have AI web search to actually find a lot of information about that company. And the benefit of that is, for example, you don't have to ask again for the industry directly in the form, which is an extra step for your prospect, and they might actually not fill the form, and you will not get that lead. You can just get that in the backend with, for example, here a database agent where I have just added a column here. The type is select, but this time AI will actually autofill this field. And I just wrote super simple prompt based on the company name and website. Find the most fitting industry. I plugged in a small but efficient model, and I allowed web search. And I have listed here my own taxonomy of industries, and that's really important because you are able to define your own industries.
And then the agent's going to match what they find to that list that you've defined.
Yeah, and AI is really good at that. So you keep this is easily filterable. It can be a filter in your end user app. So that's the value of a select field. Mm-hmm. But now it's made super easy to automatically fill. And I've done the same here for a 3 bullet point, description of the activity of a company. Mm-hmm. Pretty similar here. You just describe, you tag. So it looks like this. You can reference any column of your database. So that's how I mapped the company name, and that becomes Apple, for example. And you say, okay, summarize the company activity of, and you map your company name, and it will. That's how it can dynamically, run that AI agent that will also be able to search the web whenever needed if you toggle it in. And I've done the same here for a number of employee. I asked for an estimate. It's never 100% because you have different types of information online. So the AI is also here able to find an average and give a good indication, like, okay, are we talking about a big company or a smaller one? So if I add maybe
and
here,
it's really easy to set up. You don't need to build a workflow to do this, even though it probably could be done in a workflow. It's just a little bit more complexity to do it in a workflow. So this is where database agents really shine and can take your data, enhance it, add more information to it, clean it up, prepare it however you need to in the back end to power your app even further and your workflows even further. So there's a lot of tools that you have at your disposal here with Softr now being full stack. And it's just a very, very exciting time. If you haven't built a full stack app yet with Softr, I encourage you to try it out. Just build something for fun on the weekend and nights or whatever, just like your own thing where you just use Softr and you spin it all up yourself, and you'll see how well it comes together, how easy it is, but also like the speed improvement now using Softr databases, Softr workflows, etc. It's one of the big things that I took away from Build Week is being able to build a Softr app in 7 days. A lot of them were first-time builders, and then the types of apps that they were able to create, the speed of the apps, all that kind of stuff. So much is now possible in Softr, and so you don't need a developer. You don't need thousands of dollars. You just need like a week or two to get in there and build your own tool for your own business. And with one subscription, you can build many tools for your business that power, whether it's just like even an automation just for like your daily life or personal or business life to like make a certain thing impactful, a database just to store your data, and then an app on top of that. There's so many different ways you can mix and match this because of the way that it's been built and the flexibility that you have. Now with Softr, that's really, really powerful.
I would say a great way to start is, at work, we all need these custom tools, and think about all for example, the spreadsheets where you and your team lose time, like maintaining, and you have all these different tabs, and it's difficult to, maybe access it from a mobile if you're on the field. These are probably challenges you could cover and tackle with an app that has a very specific need. that's adapted to your business and your own workflow. For example, a delivery manager has to log a new delivery or an inventory count, etc., and send it, and then it has to be reviewed by an admin. If you map that flow out, you are then in a good position to decide, okay, what database should I have, like maybe tracking these logs and have a status for the review and some user groups, and you're already halfway through building your app. So identify all these use cases where you would love to have an app, and you actually now are able to build it yourself with your team. That's a great time to solve those challenges.
Yeah. Thanks for everyone for tuning in today. For any questions that we didn't get to, we'll respond in chat. But otherwise, we appreciate you being here. Hopefully, this was a very valuable video for you and showing you just better practices of how to build with Softr, especially now with the product growing so much. There's so much more product surface area that you need to know. And hopefully this was helpful in, showing you the best ways to do that. So we'll see you around chat and our other channels. But otherwise, thanks for tuning in.
It was a great one. Bye.